Welcome to the very first episode of the Winchester Report. I'm one of your co-hosts, Lilith, and the other co-host is
Sophia. Yay!
Tell them a little bit about yourself, Sophia. Like, where you from, what you do, what you tweet. Do you have any other projects with Southgate Media?
To answer your first question, no, I don't. Or last question, I guess. I don't have any other projects with Southgate. Now, we'll see maybe later in the time coming. I'm Sophia. I have been watching Supernatural live since season 4. I caught up pretty slowly, if that's the case. I live tweet Supernatural. I live tweet Teen Wolf. Sometimes I live tweet Arrow. And I work for showratings.tv. We're a premier website where we rate and review TV shows that we love. It's totally user-driven. You should check it out. I'm I'm the assistant to the social media producer, which is very cool. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. My handle is @SophiaMPorter, and I'm living currently in Chicago.
I'm Lilith Hellfire. You might know me from Southgate Media's Teen Wolf podcast that I do with Dawn, who I also podcast about Arrow with most frequently. And we also had a Supernatural podcast last season. It got a little wonky. We got a little disheartened, but I've got the fortitude to talk about Supernatural again because it got really good. To my shock and dismay. Like, what?
I know, I was expecting it to just kind of go down the drain, but I don't know, they pulled it back. I'm happy. I'm a happy viewer. I mean, happy in a way that I'm happy with the show, but not like...
Ratings news, we did phenomenal again. I guess that Bieber beef did us some good.
It did not just do us. I mean, we had the highest ratings we've ever had after Jared versus Justin. The ratings shot through the roof. Did we get renewed? I thought.
Yeah, we got renewed for season 10, but we got renewed early. I mean, season 10 is a no-brainer. Our ratings have been good, but like these last 2 weeks, they've been amazing. Like, it was the highest watched episode in 3.5 years. The best demo. It even translated to the originals that come on before us.
Yep.
So yeah, it was just amazing, and I'm just so happy for Supernatural because I started watching it in season 3, and seasons 2 through 5, man, we struggled for renewal every single year. Every single year we were worried about getting canceled and all that stuff, and so it's just so good to see the show come up and do good and be a success.
And have so many positive supporters as well. I mean, of course, there's always fandom wank. That's what's going to happen in a TV show like this. But overall, the fans are so supportive. I don't think I've seen a show.
Dude, we've been together about stuff. Like, Supernatural fandom, if you're on the wrong side of it, you will get burned. And that's an awesome thing, but also a very scary thing.
Yes, exactly.
Today we're going to talk about the latest episode, which was 9/13, Purge. I thought of the movie instantly.
I was like, it's pretty soon to be naming an episode after a movie.
But
that just came out.
But it wasn't actually, that's not what the writer's intention was. It is a reference to how people lose fat. Like, I've never heard it. I guess it's for old people. And also, it's emotional purge that happened between Sam and Dean in this episode.
I had a feeling it would be in reference to the breakup, I guess, of Sam and Dean. Because that makes sense. And I think it purged fans emotionally as well. So it was a reference all over the place.
Definitely. Oh, so it was written by
Eric Charmello and Nicole Snyder.
Yes. Oh, I am not a fan of them. I was really disappointed when I heard that we were getting new writers. I was excited because we definitely need to be reinvigorated. But I was like, oh, they're old writers. Oh, joy.
Right. And they wrote Dog Eat Afternoon, which was earlier in this season, and that was an episode that I kind of like. It was funny, but that was the reason that I didn't like it, was because, you know, Supernatural, when it doesn't know what to do, it tends to go funny. And for a show that is a drama/thriller, the funny episodes, like as great as they are, need to be few and far in between. And I think Dog Eat Afternoon happened just after Slumber Party.
Yeah, it was too soon. Like, Summer Party was kind of hokey, too. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like we only need, like, comedic relief in Supernatural when we have, like, a comedy episode after this would be definitely needed.
I'm praying for a comedy. Well, I mean, it's going to be, 3 weeks till the next episode, so maybe we'll have calmed down by this point, but, like...
Not really. Not me. I mean, like, this is the first one that I actually, like, watched live in a long time. I plan on live tweeting when we come back from here on out. I haven't been live tweeting Supernatural for quite a while. But this is the one that I watched live, and I was just kind of watching my timeline or whatever, and it feels good to be back, but I was sad to come back to watching it live during this episode. I was like, what?
No, I had people, like, checking on me, and they were like, is Sophia okay? Is she gonna survive this? Because I got silent for, 10 minutes, and I tend to live tweet, really rapidly during Supernatural, and, that was... Yeah, we're gonna need some happy thoughts, happiness.
Exactly. So yeah, the monster of the week was a fish taco, and I was with Dean when I said a fish taco.
I was too. I was like, fish taco? Is that really what they just said? Yeah, fish taco from Peru.
Yeah.
The fat suckers.
It's a parasitic monster that feeds on fat, and I was happy that it was a good monster.
Well, yeah, I was too, and I really, as far as, the whole monster of the week thing, I liked the monster. It was gross. It was creepy. I liked her. And I also liked the sibling issues that they had, which was a nice contrast to Sam and Dean. It was a smart way of doing it.
Timeline. It was apparently a few days after last week's episode, Shark Teeth.
Yeah. I mean, it had to be. They were. I mean, Sam and Dean were, the exact same, and from what happened in Shark Teeth, and so obviously, yeah, it was only 2 or 3 days. Not even. I wouldn't say even a week.
Yeah, definitely. I would say a few days, because Dean's emotional wounds were fresh. He can't hide it from me. I know that, man.
No, we know when Dean's not okay.
So yeah, I think that it was kind of odd that we had two kind of monster love stories in a row where they weren't bad. Like, both of them were semi-good. And one had a bad family, like a family member. You know what I mean? Like, it was, too early to be recycling that.
Yeah. At the same time, I feel like with Shark Teeth, Garth was so prevalent in the episode that we didn't really pay attention to the monster factor, even though he was a werewolf. We were more focused on Garth. Mm-hmm. And in this episode, it was much more like monster of the week. We don't know these monsters. We don't know what they are, if they're good or bad. But I agree, it was too soon. One episode right after the other.
We were in Stillwater, Minnesota, which is an actual place. But I don't think the Minnesota accent is actually real. I think somebody liked Fargo way too much.
Way too much, eh? I agree. I have a friend who's from Minnesota, and she's like, oh, Stillwater's the most beautiful town. It's a real place. It's got candy stores everywhere. I was like, oh, well, no wonder the fish taco targeted it.
Exactly. That actually makes a lot of sense. Thanks for that tidbit.
You're welcome. I found that out half an hour ago.
So we got some characters of the week. Sheriff Donna Hanscom? Really? Hanscom?
Yeah. She was wonderful. I thought she was very lovely.
Oh, yes. Her backstory was marvelous.
It really was. I and it was hard for me to, pay attention to what she was saying because I got a bit sidetracked by my emotions. But, when she was saying, I'm not beautiful, and I was like, oh, no, you are. You're lovely. You don't have to do this to yourself. I was into her. I liked her a lot. I thought it was a strong side character for one of, 3 side characters.
Yeah. She was, helpful, and she wasn't, the bumbling sheriff like we usually have, so I really found that awesome.
Yeah, she held her own, I would definitely say.
Maritza, I liked her. I didn't like Larry or Alonzo, but I loved Maritza.
Well, she was just, I wish she didn't cry as much as she did, but yeah, I liked her too. You know, I felt her pain, which was sad but nice at the same time, because you know, sometimes with these monsters, it's not always that you feel their pain. You're always kind of like, yeah, no,
let's just gank them.
Right, but with her, I was like, oh man, she's struggling. She's struggling, and I want her to not struggle anymore. And I did not want Dean to kill her.
Did it shock you that he actually wanted to kill her? Like, this is like Dean from season 1, man. Like,
oh, I know. And after Garth, like,
after Benny. Like, not even Garth, but Benny. Like, he wants to kill this lady.
I only say Garth because it was last episode, but you're right, Benny. Oh.
Full disclosure, I love DJ Qualls. Like, I find him a really cool dude. Like, everything about him's cool, but I don't like the character of Garth because they tried to make him new Bobby, and that you burn me once, and you're dead to me.
I agree. No, I totally agree. I actually wrote about it in my review of last week. I was like, I've never been a Garth fan. I thought his character was totally pointless. It was trying to fill a void that couldn't be filled. And then I really like what they did with the werewolf. I liked seeing him get angry for the first time, because I got angry with him, which is something I never expected. I never expected myself to be like, oh no, save Garth, or, you know, feel anything towards Garth. And so I liked him in Sharp Teeth. But I didn't like him before then.
Well, like, Dean has a, like, come on, let's just be honest. Dean had a better connection with Benny than he ever will with Garth.
I know. God, Benny is one of those characters they missed the mark on completely. Like, I wish he had a spinoff.
He might be able to come back from Purgatory and be on Supernatural Tribes. You never know. Although I don't know what Ty Olsson is doing. Like, I love Ty Olsson, but, like, I didn't like Benny last season when I was watching it live. But the more that I feel like when I rewatched season 8, like, I had distance from, like, being angry with Jeremy Carver and all that. I kind of fell in love with the character of Benny. I did. And so I would love to see him back on Supernatural Tribes. Like, there's a will, there's a way in Supernatural.
No character is ever dead on Supernatural. That's so
except
true.
for Kevin.
No, I agree. I think Benny, I would love to see him back. I love Ty Olsson too. He's been in a few of my favorite shows. Supernatural, Battlestar Galactica.
He's been in Arrow. He's kind of almost like Mark Shepard, where he's been in so much stuff that I love.
But people don't notice him as much, which is something that I don't know that I like. I liked him a lot, and that whistle scene in Purgatory is one of my favorites of the series, just like, because it was so creepy. Yes.
Like, I don't know what to make of Larry because he's in love with a monster. Like, yeah, she's a good monster, but at the same time, but like, I kind of side-eyed him because he opens this spa for, like, financial gain for himself. So did he really love Maritza, or was she a means to an end?
I didn't even understand the point of his character except to be killed off. Which in Supernatural, that was the point of his character, was to be killed off, which is why there was not necessarily any character development whatsoever. And I didn't like him. He was smarmy. He was, like, gross. I didn't feel bad when he died at all. I was like, well, you kind of deserved it. And I think she really loved him.
Yeah.
And I don't think that he reciprocated that love. She was hot.
she was very pretty. I want to also shout out the visual effects people. They, ever since, like, season 8, they have really stepped their game up, and I like the visual of her eyes and her suction cup. And then when they cut the tongue off and it was nit, I was like, oh!
Oh, I know, that was so good. No, the visual effects, especially this season, I really noticed it. All right, we should talk about who directed the episode.
Phil Segretia. He's a series regular.
He's been there since the beginning. He did, fan favorites, Yellow Fever, Ghost Facers. He did one of in my opinion, the scariest episode of Supernatural, which was Family Remains in season 4.
Really?
He also did Everybody Loves a Clown, which is the first episode of Supernatural that actually scared me. I'm a fan of him. I'm a fan of what he's done. I like him, and I think he was the perfect one to direct this episode, because he's been with them since the beginning.
I like Phil Segretia. I do. I like his directorial aesthetic. He finds interesting ways to shoot. The color seems a little different when he shoots. That might be editing. I don't know, but it's always something different about his episodes, and I can kind of almost always tell when it's him. And I like a director that has that ability to differentiate itself but not make it stand out in the episode. And that's what the episode's all about. Like, say, Bitten, where it's, you know, the shaky cam, or it's in black and white, or whatever, you know. We got some new definition. Well, we got one new definition besides fish taco, which is a pootsie bag. And I was like, really? A pootsie bag? I don't even know if that's a real throwback to the Changeling, which is where we met Lisa in that case.
Yes. Oh, Lisa. The only ship I ever jumped on was the
Oh, honey, that was doomed. Oh, you poor baby.
I know. It was a sinking ship the moment we met her, but I loved it anyway.
I loved Lisa for Dean.
I thought she was great. I also held to the fact that Ben was Dean's son.
Me too. Oh, girl, I will fight you. I will fight you over it. Don't you tell me Ben wasn't Dean's son.
He was Dean's son. There was like, they tried to be like, oh yeah, biker guy. No. She lied to get Dean to go.
Exactly.
If he had known that Ben was his son, he never would have left. Or maybe he would have turned out like John, but let's hope not.
He was already on the way with the way he was treating them, so I'm kind of glad.
Yeah, I know. Oh, God. Don't get me started on John Winchester.
Me neither. We'd be here for 5 days.
Oh, yeah, at least. Maybe that can be one of the next podcasts can be directed at John.
Over the summer, I really like the idea of doing Throwback Thursdays where we talk about, or we could just talk about issues like John Winchester or like favorite episodes.
I would love that because I have so many issues with John Winchester.
We actually got music in this episode, and I'm bummed out that it was Up Where We Belong by Joe Crocker and Jennifer Warnes. Like, really?
Oh,
like, I get it made sense within the scene, I guess, but I thought it was a little hokey.
It was hokey, and for Supernatural to do that instead of, you know, another classic rock song, it hurts.
It's worse than Garth's ringtones. I'm like, really? I'd rather hear Big Butts or Hammer Time.
Right? I know. Oh my god. And one of the things that originally drew me to Supernatural was the soundtrack. Like, I'm a huge classic rock fan. And
Muscle car, classic rock, two attractive guys that can act.
It's perfect. It's the perfect mixture.
Yes.
That's all.
I'm telling you, the first 3 seasons are my favorite. I just...
Yep. I agree. The first 3 seasons, they had it down. And I would even say, like, I liked season 4. I didn't mind the Angels because it wasn't, like, over the top. And then they just kept coming back. And they kept coming back. And they've been a big bad ever since. And it's like...
Theme? What'd you get for the theme?
What's the answer?
I had a hard time, too. But, I don't know. I guess, like, just because they're family doesn't mean you're stuck with them, because like Alonzo was the downfall. Like, she has to go back to Peru and she lost her husband, and you know, just because he's family doesn't make it right.
No, and you know, it mirrors Sam and Dean.
Yep.
So yeah, I guess you're right. The theme is family or the lack thereof.
Just because they're really family, like some people's families, they do some certain people the worst, and I really feel like Sam's family, like, and it's not like they even were intentional with it, but he hasn't had the best home life. Like, at least Dean got a slice of mom and dad and getting peanut butter jelly sandwiches.
Right.
Sam never got that.
No, Sam never had a home. I think he was finally starting to get one with Jess.
He does see family differently. And he's just had enough that, like, yeah, family isn't the answer to any of your problems necessarily.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So the case of the week, it was definitely like a standalone, but I wouldn't call it filler because of the last 5 minutes. And the whole parallel that was the story that was leading up the conversation that Sam and Dean had.
It wasn't a filler. I went in expecting it to be a little bit, just because like I was hoping for one after, you know, the conversation at the end of Sharp Teeth, and then, you know, it totally wasn't. It's like not a filler. Let's just break your hearts even more.
I do want to get back to the myth arc of things. Like, when he got the Mark of Cain, you don't even know how excited I was. I was like, oh, the myth arc is oh, okay. Never mind. False alarm!
Yep. No, I'm excited, too. I think that's going to be a really strong story arc to carry. It's just going to be interesting to see this side of Dean, and I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, because I loved post-purgatory Dean before he lost his edge. Like, oh man, I was like, I need more of that in my life. Oh, I got fangirl moments for days. You don't even know.
Oh, I get it. I mean, that's like how Dean was, you know, when he's torturing Alistair.
Oh, yes. Like, sometimes he's got to let the dark out. He's got a lot of dark. He needs to stop denying it.
And after this whole thing with Sam, I think it's going to come back. And that's what I'm looking forward to it personally, because I like Dark Dean. I think he's got so much darkness in him that he has to push down because, you know, he's got to take care of everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really excited to kind of see where it goes. Obviously, I'm apprehensive too, but I don't know. It's gonna be an interesting road.
I'm just happy for Jensen. Like, it's about damn time. Like, he does get the emotional scenes and everything, but at the same time, like I said, it's like really he was just relegated to pep talks and cooking and making snarky pop culture references. Like, Dean is more than that, and Jensen deserved better than that. So I'm glad it's corrected.
Because Sam was doing all the character development, and they needed to just sideline Dean, but that's not the way.
I wouldn't even say it was character development. Sam is always and forever will be a plot device, but the stuff revolves around him, like always and forever. And I don't think that it's fair. I think that it was about time for them to get the switch off. Oh, time for highlights and lowlights. So let's talk about some good stuff.
I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I liked seeing Sam in that tight clothing. I mean, that's always going to be a good thing for me. He's got nice arms.
He's got nice everything. His shoulder to waist ratio is out of control.
It kills me. I mean, that was like, for me, that was the saving grace because I just could look at his arms when there were sad parts. I'd just be like, okay, let's just zone in on Jared Padalecki's arms and forget about everything else that's going on. Because, like, yeah, that was a good part. I also liked watching Dean and Pudding again. That was
Pudding! I know, I literally thought that.
Like, oh, pudding, and it was salted caramel pudding, and I was like, that is the best of both worlds. You're right, Dean. Like,
I almost wanted some roofies and all.
Roofies. How do you not know what a roofie is? I was like,
how do you not know what a roofie is? I'm like, Dean, what have you been up to, sir?
What have you not been telling us? Yeah, no.
Psychopath, like I said.
So those were two positive points, and I mean, obviously, I wouldn't say that a high point is the conversation at the end, but it was so good. It was so well acted. It was well written, and it made sense, and I was really happy that they went there with it.
I too liked the yoga scene with Sam. I liked that he didn't know. They were like, 5 minutes.
And everyone that does yoga is like, no.
And then he tried to give him high fives afterwards.
Part of me was hoping that he'd be really good at it. Like, I wanted to see him get really just, like, into it and be bendy, but it's okay. I was happy with the way that they did it. Like,
definitely. I like the scene where Alonzo tells Dean to quit flirting with the new trainer.
Oh my god, Wincest girls everywhere freaked out.
I'm usually not a fan of the Wincest jokes, but I used to take fandom so seriously, and now I'm just so chill that I can just see a funny joke for a funny joke, and I get the running gag of it all. And it's actually nice to see that after 9 years and so many changes in writers that it's still there. I guess it's a comfort for me.
No, it was a good nod from the writers. They're like, yeah, we see you. We understand what you want. But it was it was a well delivered, like, it was well written. It wasn't like, you know, just thrown in awkwardly. It was very just like, you know, offhand, and like, obviously my timeline exploded. Apparently I follow a lot of Wincesters. I don't know why, but that's apparently what happened. So my timeline was very happy with that scene.
I also like the when they go to meet Sheriff Donna Hanscom, and she had the powder donut all over her face, like she wasn't scared to dig in, and then Dean being Dean.
Yep, I love that because it's such a throwback to season 3 with the first episode with the trickster.
Yeah,
when he like stuffs his face full of chocolates, which is like one of my favorite scenes of Supernatural, and I love that they like still, like, he's still a pig. After everything else, Dean's still a pig when it comes to food.
Which, and you know, like, Jensen originally wanted to stop doing that because you have to take so many takes, and you get really sick because you're gonna eat some of it. Because come on, it's good. So it was nice to see that he kind of caved into that and like did it, because it's been a long time since we've seen it.
Yeah, no, I agree. It has been a long time. Like, it was surprising to me that I was like, because I remember in or it must have been in season 3 during, I don't know, there was one intro, or like previously on, or last time, you know, where it was all just Dean eating. And like, I remember just being so happy with it, like, because it just showed how much Dean ate. And that was one of my favorite, like, previously on moments.
Dude, the previous leads for the last, like, 2 seasons have just been, like, not doing it for me.
No, I agree.
Because you know what it is? Because they just keep doing throwbacks to, like, season 8 and season 9. Like, I like when they do previous seasons from, like, way back.
Yeah, I know, I agree. No, I know. Well, I liked this previously on because all it was the conversation at the end of Sharp Teeth.
Yeah.
So it was just like, oh, hey, by the way, we're picking up right where we left off. Like, surprise, surprise. I like that, but my favorite are the throwbacks to, like, the first few seasons. Because, you know, it's just like, you remember that it's the same show. They've gone through so much change, but here's where they started, and, like, the writers remember that, the actors remember it, the producers remember it, and it just feels good. It's like, oh, okay, they still, like, I don't know, it's like a safety blanket.
Yes.
I get it.
Did you have any favorite lines?
I loved when Dean said fish taco.
Me too.
That was just, because everyone was thinking it. Like even before he said it, like, I was watching it with my sister, and she goes, fish taco, and then he said it, and it was just like, it was so human, and I really liked that, because after all this, we need to see that both Sam and Dean, even though they've lost a bit of their humanity, they're still human. So I liked the little one-liner there, and I also liked when Sam said, hold this for 5 minutes. Like, that was good. And I loved, even though, like, I wanted to yell at her, no, I loved when the sheriff was talking about how she didn't think she was beautiful, and I can't remember the exact line, but that spoke to me. I was like, God, that hurt. Like, that was so beautiful.
That whole scene was cute, because even Dean goes, he goes, well, he's trying to comfort her, then Sam's like, no, not the time, dude.
That was great. I love the way they did that.
I like when Jim goes, you know, they come in and he's eating a salad, and Jim goes, when I gear up for a competition, I eat lettuce. It stretches the stomach. Dean, yet another reason to stay away from salads. And I literally said, dang it, it is.
Oh my god, I totally forgot about that. That's so good. Oh, wait, yeah, that's good. That's really funny. He was a funny character.
Oh, yeah. I figured that it wouldn't be the girl, because, like, we never solved the case that quick. But she was into that big old dude, and I was like, no, I'm not judging anybody's kinks, but that's kind of messed up. But kind of beautiful at the same time, that she can see past that.
Yeah, no, I agree. And, like, when Dean's reaction to it, he's like, or I don't even remember what he says, but that was...
He almost, like, pushing for the cushion. Man, Sam was just cutting him off left and right.
I know, it was so good. Dean's reaction was perfect. Like, oh my god, yes.
The bad, and I'm not even gonna say that it's bad, but, like, it's got the whole fandom on the floor in a puddle of feels. So the last scene with the talk that's long overdue, that needed to be addressed, that will help them be more mature if they don't drop this. Yep. I appreciate it, but man, you stabbed me in the heart.
Yep, it was like, I actually, when it finished, my sister was like, are you gonna be okay? Like, I'm a little worried about you, and I just told her, I was like, I think I need to go lie down, and then I need a stiff drink, and then I'm gonna sleep it off. Unfortunately, I had to write a review about it, so I could do none of those things, but on the floor, like, in a puddle, like, in a heap on the ground, just like, no, like, it was hard. It was emotional for sure. But like you said, it was long overdue. It needed to happen, and I think that they're headed towards a healthier relationship, hopefully. But it was, oh man,
there's so much damage though that, like, there's not a bridge big enough to build.
Yeah, they'll probably
it's gonna have to be a compromise, but I need Dean just this one time to compromise more than Sam does.
Yep. Dean's gonna work. He's gonna have to work really hard, and he's going to have to, you know, work to make it right. And in a way that he's never done that before.
But Sam also needs to say some things too, like, you know what I mean? Because he has been a snotty, like I said, as a Sam fan, like, I know that Sam can be a bit of a snot, and I call him out on it all the time, because even though I love him, I want him to be better, I want him to grow up, and I want Dean to grow up too. Like, at first, when he was shedding all the John Winchester stuff, like, you know, the jacket and the, you know, all this stuff, I was like, okay, this is good. Like, he's starting to get his own personality finally after all this time, and then it, like, got stunted. Like, his growth got stunted, and it just stagnant, like a smelly swamp. And so this is the turning point that I'm really hoping for the writers to actually convince me they know what the word maturity means, because I haven't been seeing it. They keep telling me that it is, but I haven't been seeing it.
I mean, they're definitely definitely different levels of maturity at this point. I think they've both got a lot of growing to do, and they've got, I mean, I know that the most heartbreaking thing for me was when Sam was like, I don't consider us brothers anymore. Because, as you said before, the core of the show, the thing that drew me in as well, was the brother bond. And, like, to hear one of the brothers say that he doesn't consider them, like, brothers was just... Sam does have a lot to work on as well. Like, but... they both gotta they're gonna have to work on it together, and that's what's gonna be hard.
Like, Dean's almost 40 at this point. Like, come on. Like, I started thinking about the timeline, and I'm like, this is messed up. Like, they're still driving around the country. Like, sure, they've got the bunker, but, like, man, y'all gotta start acting like straight up adults in order to gain any kind of maturity. Like, pay an actual bill. Like, are they still doing credit card scams? Or, like, how are they getting by? Like, it's time to, like, do a little something.
It was like, when we were introduced to the bunker, it was like, oh, does this mean that they finally, like, have a home, that they're finally going to settle down? No, apparently not. They never really took that storyline anywhere.
Well, Dean settled in, but, like, now the problem with Gadriel killing Kevin, that Sam might not want to stay there. He might have to move out, and that's part of their maturing process.
Right, and if that's the case, then fine. Like, if that makes them more mature, then I'm all for it.
Can we talk about how his first words to Sam was "Don't kill me," and then the last thing is, well, Sam's body killing him? I'm just like, y'all ain't right. Them writers are mean.
Yeah, you guys need to step off, please. Like,
they are like the master. They're like Alistair's apprentice at this point. Like, every time I think they can't, like, get a new low and make me feel worse, it's like they find something.
And the worst part is, like, what does Kevin, he says, like, getting close to you pretty much seals my death.
Yeah, and Crowley told him, like, it was crazy because, like, even when I knew Crowley was trying to get into Kevin's head when he said it way back last season, but I go, it is kind of true. Dean does use people and throw them away. Like, you know, as much as I love the kid, it does happen, and people die.
But that was the thing. Like, Dean was starting to, like, Dean loved Kevin.
Oh, no doubt.
Like, you know, and that was, like, the first time with, I mean, obviously he went through, like, a lot with Benny. And I get that, but to call Kevin, like, a brother, to call him part of the family, like, that is something that I don't, like, Dean doesn't do that, you know? Like, he uses those words, but I don't think that he means them. But with Kevin, it really felt like he meant that.
Yep.
And then just to have them just,
I feel like Kevin was killed off for Dean's man pain, though, which I'm not ever a fan of killing a character off specifically to create man pain.
Right, I'm not either, and, like, I'm holding out that they'll bring him back, but not until Dean's okay, not until Dean's moved on. They're not going to bring Kevin back until Dean has grown up, and until he's dealt with the fact that he killed him.
Yeah.
You know, and, like, they're not going to bring him back until that point. And, but it always makes me feel better that, like, Osric will watch the episodes and live tweet, and, like, that makes me feel better. But still, it's just, like, it's not the same without Kevin. And I never thought I would care about a character as much as, like, I cared about Sam and Dean, besides Bobby.
Exactly. And, like, you know, I care about Cass, too, but, like, he's died and come back so many times that there's never any question in my mind that he won't come back.
Right, but Kevin is, like he was a kid. He's, like, my age.
Yeah, exactly.
For him. Like, I wanted him to survive.
But past that, I really think that Ursula Cho was a gem, and he continues to be a gem to the fandom.
He does. He's great with the fandom. Like, especially after that episode, I remember just feeling, like, so empty.
Did you read his letter?
Of course.
I was like, that's a class act, and I really... Like, I was kind of bummed because I don't know if you know, like, he is, like, a martial artist. He trained in Wushu, and the kid's body is sick. So I was like, ooh, let's train Kevin to be a hunter and get his shirt off. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, because I was like, can we, like, can we see more of Kevin's arms? Like, is that a thing? Apparently I have a thing for arms. This is not something I knew before. But, when we like saw Kevin like cut his hair and like bulk up, I was like one thing I tweeted. I remember there was an episode where he wasn't in. I was like, the only thing missing from this episode was Osric Chow's arms. Can we get those back, please? And then the next episode, he was killed off. I don't know. I remember, like, after that episode, I was feeling so emotional. I tweeted at him, and I was like, you're still a part of the family, blah, blah, blah. And he favorited it, and I was like, oh, my God.
Yeah, that kid is outstanding, and he was... I I was shocked. That's what shocked me. Like, because the season 2013 conventions, like, where he dressed up as Princess Bubblegum, and he gave Dean the mini pig, and just, it was just like, oh, no way they're gonna get rid of this kid. Like, he's amazing. The character was really growing, reaching its peak. I mean,
he was growing. He was, like, the character, it was amazing. It was, keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, no, totally. I could go on and on about Orchard Cho and Kevin Tran, and I was like, I wanted him to be the first Asian American president. I did. Poor kid.
No, I'm with you. He can, honestly, he's so sweet, and he was so kind, and I started to get to that point where I was like, I'm not worried that he's not going to survive, because they were building his character so much, you know? They had him go through a lot, and then when they killed him off, I was like, no, that didn't happen.
The only saving grace, I would say, is at least we know he's in heaven with his mom. Like I said, I think that was really the only bad thing. And then, like I said, it's not bad. It's just different, and it hurts. Like, it hurts to see the boys in pain and not, for all intent and purposes, shoving it down, doing the John Winchester thing to get through and get the job done.
All in all, the episode wasn't bad, but, like, it hurt.
Yeah, I totally, it hurt me. Like, I remember, like, when the episode ended, I said, what the? Yeah. And my boyfriend comes in and he's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, oh, you wouldn't understand, honey. Don't worry about it. He's like, are one of your TV characters having difficulties? And I'm like, oh, you do get me. Did you notice anything, like, that had the fandom in a tizzy? Like,
I mean, obviously Destiel fans weren't, Wincest fans weren't happy. Like, let's be honest, they weren't happy with it. Because it's like, this whole brotherly incest thing wasn't going according to plan.
I hate Wincest, though, because it's not, well, okay, some of the hardcore, quote-unquote, Wincest, like, I really feel like that's just a really bad, like, tag for it. Like, I call it the brother bond. It's like brothers before anything else. And sure, some of the Wincest originally, like, that, where it comes from is that, you know, they wanted to get it on, but it's evolved from that. And I don't want to paint either side of the shippers as crazy. Sure, they have that one tiny faction, but for the most part, I totally get where they're coming from, because I totally do care about the brother bond, and I have been a brothers only, and then just, like, as Castiel grew on me, I kind of accepted it into the Team Free Will, you know?
Yeah, no, I mean, I get it. If Wincest were totally platonic, I would ship it.
I don't know. I think they are soulmates, though. I think that's been established, and your soulmate doesn't have to be romantic or sexual. It's just somebody that is literally the other half of your soul, and I really feel like the boys are that for each other at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, I would agree that at the end it has to be Sam and Dean. There's no Cass, there's no Bobby, there's no Kevin, there's no women. They are each other's Achilles heel. They are each other's strength at the same time, and it's always been about Sam and Dean. So I agree with that. I'm just not a shipper.
Yeah, I'm not a shipper, but like I said, the brother bond, that's where they come from. They come from a good place for the most part until you look into the not safe for work tag on Tumblr. Then it gets a little weird, but
I have both Wincest and Destiel blacklisted from my Tumblr. Like,
I wouldn't even say that the Destiel shippers were upset. I think that the Castiel / Misha fans, as I was too, was upset by the fact that they like to pretend like Castiel doesn't exist when he doesn't serve the plot. Like,
my thing was, like, after what was it? Not the last episode, but the episode before it, with Cass and Sam finally having a relationship.
Oh God,
thought that they would have even mentioned him in this episode, and he's not a part of it. And he's a main character now. They made him a main character. He should be at least mentioned in the episodes that he's in. No, Cass's character is being utilized when they need it, and that's it.
That's a shame. Like, I was a little apprehensive about Cass staying on, but when he lost his grace in the season finale last season, I was like, oh, this is endless possibilities. And then he got separated from the Winchesters, and I was just like, oh man, like, what is even the point of Team Free Will if you do that?
Right, exactly. And I liked Team Free Will. I mean, I liked the way they worked with Cass. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was good. Don't really know what they're doing with his character. I
think Misha deserves better. Like, it sounds like people, I swear, like, last season, people thought I hated Castiel. It's not that. I just think Misha deserves meatier, juicier storylines. Like, he doesn't deserve to be a plot device. Like, let's be real. Like, nobody cares. It wasn't an angel. Like, when he was human, like, I would have been perfectly content to be like, all the angels can't live on Earth. We do like a war of the worlds, and they can't survive. And Cass is human now, so he doesn't have to worry about that. Angels are dead. Wouldn't bat an eyelash. But no, we're still worried about heaven. We need to worry about the humans, because that's what the story is about. We're losing our connection.
Who on the writing staff thinks we want more heaven?
I don't know. I want more hell before I want more heaven.
Me too. Oh my god, like, I'm so done with heaven, and now heaven's closed. You would have thought, oh, okay, we're done with it. No. Angels duking it out.
See, some angels burned up on the entry. How come they all couldn't do that?
I know. Oh my god. It's just ridiculous. Cass really should have been the only one to survive, because Metatron threw him out.
Yeah, made him semi-human.
Go be human. Go marry someone. Have a good life. But no,
You know, another wasted potential for heaven is Team Free Heaven. Like, it could be Kevin, it could be Bobby, it could be Ash, it could be like all the people that we love. Yeah.
Oh my god, that would be great.
And they're like trying to take heaven down from the inside. Like, they're totally missing the potential of having heaven closed. Like,
well, exactly. We don't know anything about what goes on in heaven. We have no idea. Like, and it would be so nice to see what the Supernatural writers who have been writing about heaven for so long, what they actually see it being like. And if we saw that through eyes of characters we already knew, it would be a great, even if it were like a mini series.
Webisodes, yes. Give me something, because like that's the part of heaven I actually do care about. Like, I always thought, like, when we got to it in season 5, I was super bummed and disappointed about it. Like, really, this is heaven? This is their idea of heaven? That sucks. Like, it needs to be like a revolution, because that's not fair that you have to spend in this one little area of your perfect day, instead of being like only soulmates get to be together. Like, really?
No, I know, it's horrible.
So what'd you give it for a grade?
This episode, overall, it was strong. It was strong. It tore out your heart. It threw it on the floor. It stomped on it, and then I blended it. And then forced you to drink it.
That is a pretty gruesome metaphor there, Sophia.
But do you agree?
I totally do. I had a heart smoothie. I totally did.
I rated it, right after I watched it, I rated it an 8 out of 10, because I felt like the necessity of the Monster of the Week wasn't actually a necessity. It was just there to fill the 35 minutes that weren't Sam and Dean.
Right.
And so that was lackluster to me. But I don't know. It's hard. I think I would give it like a B+, because of everything that it put me through. Like, I blame it for whatever troubles I've had this week. I'm gonna blame that episode.
Aww. I agree. I gave it a B-, which is a really high mark, especially post Jeremy Carver. Like, I've been really harsh and critical, because I'm a nitpicker. I'm a stickler for canon, all this stuff. But like, this episode had like none of that stuff. Like, this was a brand new monster.
It was new. It was totally new. Like, I loved that.
And I can appreciate it. We haven't had a new monster in a long time.
No, I agree then. It was refreshing to see them digging deep into mythology again.
It's been a while. And I commend them for that. And like I said, the directorial aesthetic was fabulous. I really loved what Phil did. The acting, the end scene, it just gutted me. But the acting was top notch on both parts. Like, sometimes when they have like the monologues, like, one side is kind of written a little weaker than the other. But this time, both the boys had equal material.
I felt like I was watching Sam and Dean again, and it was so, like, real. And it was everything I've wanted, like, that confrontation to be. And so the fact that it wasn't one-sided at all was so great. Like, I remember just watching it and just being, like, awestruck. Because it was, it's the first time I've really, like, kind of felt that way since Kevin's death, and it was in a positive way, but it was also in a negative way, because I was like, wait, this means so much for the characters, but it was so well acted and really well written, and I would agree with that.
Okay, well, looks like we are all done here, because this is our first episode, so we don't have listener feedback. But if you do want to have a little listener feedback, feel free to tweet either myself at Lilith Hellfire or
me at Sophia M. Porter.
Any day of the week, really, for me. I don't know about you.
No, I pretty much, I get Twitter notifications. I'm always open to feedback. I'd love to hear, what people have to say about it. Like Lilith said, this is totally new for us. We also, I'm always down to have guests on. It was because I want to hear what other people have to say. As you and I, we're not shippers and it would be interesting to hear what shippers have to say. It would be interesting to hear what if people didn't like the episode, especially. Not cool, but I guess I'll listen to what you have to say.
Yeah, like no episode is perfect, and everybody has a different filter for this season. Like for me, like I said, I've toned my Phantom and Serious Business down so much. Like I literally had to enjoy Supernatural, otherwise my blood would like boil, and I would have hypertension at this point if I didn't. So I've just been really chilled. I've been learning to enjoy the good in an episode and not focus on the bad of the episode. Do you know anything about the next episode when we come back?
Yep, its name is Captives. It's directed by Jerry Wanick, who directed Splice Girls in season 7. Not one of my favorite episodes. Crowley's gonna be back. Cass is gonna be back. Bartholomew is gonna come back, surprisingly.
I don't know what it is. I love the actor that played Bartholomew because he looks like Jake Abel.
Okay, are you an Adam fan then?
I'm not necessarily an Adam fan, but I'm a Jake Abel fan.
Jake Abel fan, that's fair. That's allowed. Yeah, so Bartholomew's coming back, and he and Cass are gonna have a confrontation.
Ooh.
And also Snooki's gonna be in it.
Who?
Snooki from Jersey Shore.
Are you messing with me?
Do I sound like I'm messing with you?
Really?
Oh yeah, she's playing herself, and yeah, it's gonna air on February 25th. That's all I know for Captives.
I'm literally floored right now. Like my mouth is like gaping wide open. Like, well, all right. So we have 3 weeks to go. So we're gonna, for the 3 weeks, kind of get caught up with what we missed, so you can get to know us and we can get to know you, and hopefully we'll get in touch with some really cool people with different opinions. All right, so we're gonna sign off, and we hope you've enjoyed it. And don't forget to tweet us.
If you would like to donate to help pay for this and other Southgate Media Group podcasts, simply go to our website, southgatemediagroup.com, and click on the donate button. It can be as little as $1 or, well, as much as you want. Help keep this fun going by supporting this and our other shows. Thanks again for listening, everyone. You're the best fans in the world.